Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to the new house. This is where the channel will be filmed from now on. Now, by the time you see this, I'll have the internet and hopefully some soundproofing because this flat has not much at all. But hey, it's a start. So, this is why this video, apart from this intro, will be audio only because I need to control my audio not through this, but through this. So, for that purpose alone, I can't really use the camera. But hey, why keep you waiting? Enjoy. Was that intentional or just an accident?
Oops.
Oh dear, it wasn't intentional, was it?
Hello! Happy International Women's Day. I'm a woman. Cool.
Even animals are women, and
wanted to talk about feminism on my channel for a long time, but I've been too scared that I'll get something wrong. I'll say something that is offensive, problematic, different. But I think I've realised that if I don't start, then I never will, and it's good to make mistakes and learn.
oh excellent, that's a great attitude to have, love. Sadly, we know what's going to happen. We just know what's going to happen. I mean, I've done this for a long time now. At least it feels like a long time, and I can predict you all. Go on.
So apologies if I say anything offensive in this video. Please do let me know and I will learn for next time.
Triggered.
I couldn't really think of a way to put all of my opinions into one video, so I thought it would be a good idea to do an International Women's Day themed Q&A. So people will ask me questions and that will help me put out what I feel in like a kind of more structured way. Yeah! Cool!
Yeah! Oh wait, we're not singing, are we?
This is #RSturdy, IWD, which looks like wood, but it means International Women's Day, because that's what it is today.
Or was. Just a heads up, people. Was.
Well, have you always been a feminist, or was there a particular reason why you now identify as one? Interesting. I've had a lot of questions as like, what are your feelings on feminism? Are you a feminist? Blah, 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 blah. Fun story. I didn't used to be a feminist because I didn't really know what it actually meant and I thought I didn't like them.
Well, I'll be a twist in the story. Well, I for one was not expecting this. I was expecting something a lot different. I thought you were always one. You were always part of the sisterhood. Turns out you weren't and you didn't like them. So this puts me in two different minds. I don't know if you were brainwashed. Oh, you're doing it for the popularity. Oh wait, there's even more I could think of in terms of theories. I can't really prove anything, but it's interesting that you didn't like them. What made you change your mind and what did you think it was beforehand? Because I never was one either and I still aren't one. So we seem to have gone down different paths, you and I.
Ha ha ha. I was young. I didn't understand.
No, I don't buy it. You're still young. And you still don't understand, but not in the way you think you do. But nobody just becomes anything because they're young, you know? There's a process there. You research or don't research and somebody tells you something and you blindly follow what they say or you just assume they are correct because why would they not be correct? Or somebody kind of nudged you in that direction. I'm not saying they were a brainwasher or some kind of, you know, ideologue propagandizing and you fell for it, but being young does not make you wrong. Look at Fiffin, that guy's still in his nappies and he's an anti-feminist.
I feel like we've all been there. There's this angry stereotype of feminism and I thought feminists were angry and just complaining and they liked confrontation. Oh dear.
You just dropped a truth bomb. Oh! You were not expecting to say that, were you? You were right in your first assessment of them. The vast majority of them, at least in the Western world, just like to moan and complain about things that really shouldn't be moaned and complained about because there's no problems there. Because they are entitled, rich people who have no problems and must seek out these problems. Or they exasperate men's problems and then say men have a problem with themselves and women. But hey, whatever, that's another topic for another day, is it not? I'm sure you're not going to bring men up anytime soon.
Oh dear. Recently I've learned, firstly, no wonder why they're bloody angry. I experience sexism probably every hour of every day.
Oh, here we are, we're making shit up because we have to. We need an argument.
Casual sexism, stuff that irritated me before but I didn't even realise it was wrong because it's been so ingrained into me that that's just how life is.
Ancient feminist secret. Make them think that the real world has brainwashed them when in actuality they are brainwashing them and say the cake is a lie when actually feminism is a lie. But hey, whatever, carry on, love.
That's not fair. No. That's why there's an International Women's Day.
What, because of some stuff that you didn't actually specify exist in the world or may not exist in the world? Yeah, life is unfair, tough shit. Deal with it. We all have to deal with it.
Thanks. Who in the arts industry do you think is currently using their power to spread gender equality? I really like Emma Watson's He for She campaign. If you haven't heard of it, I'll link a video right now, right here. I need to stop making that joke, it's not fun.
Yes, we cannot be having jokes about the Messiah, can we? You're a very naughty girl. But yeah, doing such great work as being part of the Panama leaks, not really living up to her feminist views, and let's be honest, He for She is just like any other feminist initiative. Get the men to do all the hard work while you sit back and complain, and then complain again when nothing has been done. Because you've already addressed one equality, but you're not actually addressing any other inequality. Because she wasn't actually asking for men to help achieve their own equality, just women's. That's really what it was, wasn't it? It was just saying, look, continue doing everything else you've done for all these years, but we're going to give you a pat on the back instead of just like, thanks. Yeah, that's good. That's good for gender equality.
She did a little speech and it just summed up so many things in a very objective but truthful and intelligent manner.
I'm sorry, but even the deaf person could hear that it was totally not objective in any significant way. Basically, she was saying, please do all the work, men. We don't want to do it. Literally, that was it. And basically just saying, yeah, you have your own problems, but our non-issues and non-problems are far worse. That's basically what she was saying. And yeah, it was a speech that duped the United Nations. Yeah, it's United Nations, mate. And what has she done so far in the, 1 or 2 years since? I mean, I know this was a long-term project, but we should be seen some short-term goals already. Nothing so far. Nothing. Men are still killing themselves. Men are still dying of colon cancers because they're not getting the funding and they're not getting treatment because attitudes need to be changed, but there's not enough funding being put in to help change men's attitudes despite the campaigns, because breast cancer gets everything else, most of it, when it should be equal. But hey,
I loved it. It was great. What does feminism mean to me? Well, feminism is the idea that women can be on the same level as men.
Yeah, because when feminists like to argue that we should have separate train carriages, we should have separate this, separate that, safe spaces for women, safe spaces for men, or rather just safe spaces for women, men can be in the usual places. He for she, funnily enough, which you mentioned before, saying that women cannot help themselves, cannot, to quote silly right-wingers, pull themselves up from their bootstraps and sort their own problems out. No, they need men's help. They need men's resources, men's physical help to become more equal. Yeah, sure, feminists are totally for women to be on equal ground to men or on the same level. Yeah, feminists really think women are on the same level. I mean, especially when they constantly take women's agency away from them in anything, be it rape cases, be it rights, etc, etc. They will always do this. They will say that women are weak and men are stronger, therefore we must make women more superior to men in the law, which they already have done for the last 100 years. Yeah, and let's not forget that any time MRAs or egalitarians tried to broach the topic of men's rights and say, look, here's an area where men are unfavored. Oh no, apparently that's wrong, because it's men. No, women need more rights than they already have. Yeah, apparently they just want women to be level and not superior. Or at the same time think women are less superior, therefore they must have superior rights. Yeah, sure, carry on, love.
Men are on a different level, and I'm reminded of that every day.
Well, yes, we are on a different level, but not in the way that you think. We have no reproductive rights, we are unfavoured in the court system, we have harsher prison sentences than women for the exact same crimes. Female paedophiles get away with their crimes more often than men simply because they're women and not because they're paedophiles. The severity of their crimes are usually the same, but they get a slap on the wrist. Men put away for life if it's bad enough. We also have no rights to our bodily integrity, which means you can snip off a man's foreskin when he's a baby without that safety net that female babies have, because apparently it's okay, it doesn't harm them, when we know that it does harm them, and the baby has no say in it. How come that's okay, but a female is not okay? Can someone please tell me that logic? Because I just don't get it.
Quite like to walk down the street and not be leered at or shouted at.
Yeah, guess what? That happens to men too. But do they complain about it? Do they say my rights are being infringed? No, your rights are not being infringed when somebody leers at you. Or maybe they're just checking you out subtly. That's what humans do when they see someone they're attracted to. Or at least think is pleasing on the eye. Shouting at people is not attacking your rights. I've been shouted at by men and women. It's always interesting that you feminists always keenly ignore or forget that women also catcall and they also shout at people randomly for no discernible reason. Isn't that interesting? But to say it once more, your rights are not being affected by that.
I get into a debate on the internet, I don't want people to resort to talking about my legs or my little sister's legs.
Yeah, and I don't like being told that I can't get laid and that I'm a basement dweller who has no friends.
I don't want everyone to assume that just because I'm a woman, I only do makeup tutorials online.
Who assumes that because you're a woman you do a makeup channel? It takes one look at the thumbnails and the titles of your videos to show that you do not do makeup videos. Just because most women on YouTube do that doesn't mean that everyone assumes that because you're a woman you do makeup tutorials. People can read, people can see that you do not do makeup tutorials. They are not stupid. And even then, that's not sexist, it's just an assumption. When people see my channel, what do you think they assume? Let's plays, all sorts of bullshit. I don't know what they assume because I do not care. This seems like more pet peeves from you than your rights being affected. Is this all you've got? Is this really all you've got? And do you expect feminism to deal with this? Because they haven't for the last, I don't know, 100 odd years.
Nothing wrong with makeup tutorials, but that's not all women do.
Nah, there's nothing wrong with women who choose to be full-time parents, but that's a gender role that is traditional and must be destroyed. I'm just saying, you have a problem with it. You just don't want to admit it, am I right?
Enough, I do actually have a lot more to say than what foundation I wear. And
Oh really? You think what you have is important to say? Alright, okay, whatever.
I think you'll find that a lot of women do too.
Yes, women like Ayaan Hirsi Ali are of great importance to the human race. You and other feminists, not so much.
Who are your favourite female YouTubers?
We'll skip this bit, it's irrelevant to the video.
You're cherry picking.
Do you ever find it hard to be a feminist? Number one, it's hard to spell sometimes. And number two, of course, people change their opinion on you, especially people outside of my nice internet bubble.
Yes, anybody who does not subscribe to the groupthink within our echo chamber, they will be cast out. Is that what you're saying?
I'm really lucky. My audience and most of the people I interact with online are feminists, and they know what that means, and they're all about it. I guess because I spend so much time inside it, I forget that the rest of the world still has a lot of learning to do.
No, you spend so much time that you formulate these stupid brainwashed opinions, and then you go out to the real world and realise that people do not agree with you, and rather than just saying, well, maybe I should talk to these people and debate them in a friendly manner away from the trolls, and maybe come to some kind of understanding, meet them in the middle, but no, instead you decide that they have learning to do, that they're in the wrong, not even thinking for 1 minute that you might actually be in the wrong, and that maybe you need to think about what you are saying, and maybe even believing, because you live in an echo chamber, and in that echo chamber, you are always right, or at least feminism is always right, the brand of feminism to which you subscribe to. I don't know what brand it is, I can't really discern, but it doesn't really matter. You're of the kind I can very clearly see that says everybody's wrong, we feminists are right. That explains why you have become a feminist, because you've been brainwashed within these echo chambers to the point where you cannot even think about another person's perspective. You cannot empathise, you cannot see things from their perspective. Devil's advocate is something that is alien to you. Really? We have learning to do? I can at least see from your perspective why things would be the way they are and why you think it's oppressing you, even though it clearly is not oppression. But then again, I think a lot, you don't.
Millions of people saw this broadcasted all over the world. What would you say to those watching? To men, put yourself in our shoes.
We have done, and we have now given you more rights than men. We did it. We've done it. Already have. Can you please do what this journalist did, where she pretended to be a man for a year? You don't have to pretend to be a man. Just put yourself in our shoes. You know, practice what you preach. Try and understand the world from our perspective for once. And you know what she discovered when she was a man for a year? That it's incredibly difficult to be a man. That she would rather have been a woman than the man. Put yourself in our shoes and see our difficulties and what we have to go through. And maybe then you would see why we don't like being feminists, why men choose to go their own way, why men go red pill, why men become MRAs, why men become egalitarians and not feminists. Maybe then you'll see why most women are not feminists. But you won't, because you can only see it from your perspective.
Please try. Imagine getting touched up on a train when you're standing next to your mum and little sister.
Yes, I have been touched up in front of people in public. It's horrible, isn't it? It's especially horrible when nobody will do a damn thing about it because you're a man, you're expected to enjoy it. And if you complain, you're gay, because I'm straight, remember? Now, because of my internet troubles, I cannot share this little clip where there's a man on a train or a tram, some kind of subway, and there's this woman looking at him to his eyes, masturbating in front of him, trying to get his attention, doing it right in front of him, looking at him. Nobody does anything about it. If a man did it, he'd get punched. In fact, here is a clip. In fact, there's a clip out there where this guy, I don't know where it was, he was masturbating in front of a woman and he got kicked off the tram or something happened, but he got dealt with. She didn't. That poor man, who clearly was not at all interested in her, had to put up with it. We get it too, but feminists think everything happens to them and not to everybody else.
Imagine trying to get your points across in something when you know that you're right, but you're not taken seriously, and men laugh at you and just somehow make everything that you've said worthless by saying something like, oh, she's probably on her period.
Yes, that's happened to me too, but not because I'm on a period, because I can't have periods, but because, oh, he's just telling a joke because he's quite funny, or he's a bit weird, just laugh. He's clearly being funny, when I wasn't. This has happened throughout my life since I was in college, and by college I mean 16 years old. College is different in the UK, Americans. I could be being deadly serious about a serious topic and people will laugh, even though I was not making a joke. I didn't even tell it in a jokey way, they would just laugh, because for some reason it was funny. Yes, that happened to me too, but the thing is, women also say those things about women. Oh, she's on a period. In fact, let's just get even more deadly serious. When a man says he's being abused by a woman, or being touched up by a woman, and he's really annoyed, he's getting sexually harassed, or abused, people just say, oh no, shut up mate, you wanted it, you're asking for it, you're a man, look, you've got an erection, you clearly wanted it. When that man might have been raped or harassed, but people are doing nothing about it because he's a man. Imagine that, eh? Imagine that. Can you see it in our shoes? No, you can't, because it's all our fault and you're always right and we're always wrong.
Two feminists, hello, keep going. I'm sorry about the shit stuff. You and me, we're great. Two women who aren't feminists, re-evaluate your point of view. I do not think feminism means what you think it means.
Yeah, women who aren't feminists, you think wrong. You need to think right, become a feminist. And this is why thinking you're always right is a terrible thing to do.
If someone asked you to explain a woman in 3 words, what words would you use? Strong, strong, strong.
That's one word repeated 3 times, and it only applies to a certain amount of women, and it also applies to a certain amount of men. A lot of humans aren't strong, and even then, what do you mean by strong? Are they mentally strong? Are they physically strong? Are they strong at certain things? What does that mean? That is meaningless.
There are a lot of questions that are, what's your favourite thing about being a woman? I like proving people wrong, especially when it comes to my job and creativity. We can do exactly what you do, and sometimes, actually probably bloody mostly, we do a lot better.
By you, do you mean men? Because that's sexist. You can't even prove that women who are creative do a much better job than men. You don't know that. I don't know if they do that. I don't know. It's creativity. I assume you're an artist or some kind of textile based. I don't know. I don't know what you do. You're someone who creates art. And that's subjective, love. Art is subjective. There could be one person who looks at your art and think that's shit. There'll be another person who could see it and think that's good. You cannot prove that. Still, isn't it a coincidence that most of the greatest artists are men? But then again, like I said, it's all subjective.
Do you think that there should be an International Men's Day? Every day is International Men's Day.
There it is, people. You don't have to say anything more about how feminists view men or how some women view men. Men have areas that need to be addressed, such as suicide, bodily integrity, reproductive rights, etc. But every day is International Men's Day because reasons. Because of some things that happened years ago that are apparently still relevant today. You know, men are apparently oppressing women that still run the world in that way that we did 100 years ago, even though we don't, and that was 100 years ago. Because reasons, people, that's it. These people are still stuck in the 19th century, yet they have to cheat to say that we are. You know, maybe an International Men's Day would be good for men, but then again, would it really? Because International Women's Day hasn't sorted out these first world problems that women have. So let's just do away with all these days. What's the point in them?
And I know that joke or phrase is thrown around a lot, but seriously, think about it. Would you or would you not say that women are oppressed? Because I would. And yes, it's important, of course, to recognise that men have problems.
All the examples you have told me about how women are oppressed shows that women are not oppressed. I'm not even saying that men are oppressed. Men aren't oppressed. Their problems are being ignored or just tacked on to the end of women are more oppressed than men. Women's problems are more important than men, even though these problems aren't even problems, they're nitpicks and pet peeves. Just to show that we're not sexist. We feminists will acknowledge in the least amount of words as possible that men have problems, but our problems, no matter how first world, no matter how unproblematic they are more important than men's. You can fuck right off. You know you are not oppressed, unless you are that stupid that you think being shouted at is oppression. Go fuck yourself.
Reading a book at the moment called Reasons to Stay Alive by Matt Haig. I very, very much recommend it. In that book, he talks about suicide and figures and how basically on average more women are depressed than men, but more men kill themselves, which I suppose would come from the idea that men have to buckle up, stay strong, men don't cry, men don't have these problems. And
no, it does not come from that, you fucking idiot. Otherwise, men would be far more depressed than women. If anything, the buckle up, move on actually helps us. We don't sit around wallowing and overthinking about our problems, making us more depressed about it. We get up, we move on. No, it comes from the fact that feminists influence policies and behaviours and societal opinions. And this is not necessarily them either, it's other factors too. But the reason why men are killing themselves more is because their problems are ignored. They're tacked on at the end of sentences like you just did. And say, oh, men have problems too, but we're not going to address them. Men's problems are not addressed, and that's why they're killing themselves. It's not this bullshit about how we cannot express our problems. We can, but our problems, when they are expressed, are not dealt with. Instead, when the person who complains, they're told, oh, you don't really have a problem. Men can't be abused. Men can't be sexually harassed. Then they say, deal with it. They don't take it seriously. That's the problem. If a man said he'd been assaulted, yes, they would take it very seriously. Because men, on average, get assaulted more than women. Most men get murdered more than women. That shit is taken very seriously, but suicide? Sexual harassment? Domestic abuse? No. Hell, even rape. Not taken seriously, and that's why men kill themselves.
that is an issue with gender. That's what gender equality is.
No, it is not gendered. Suicide is not a gendered issue. This is what egalitarians and MRAs are trying to say. You putting it in under a gendered lens is going to make things worse for everybody. This is a problem that male suicide victims have to deal with, not female suicide victims. A female suicide victim, or someone who attempts suicide, will have their problems addressed. Men do not. And it has nothing to do with that fact that men have to pull the socks up, blah, 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 blah. No, it's because their problems are not addressed. When we attempt to even discuss them, we are laughed out of Parliament, or at least a parliamentary committee, by people like Jess Phillips. We have protests by feminists blocking people from entering buildings because Warren Farrell is making a speech about suicide and depression that in regards to men. And yet you have the cheek to say that you care. No, you don't. None of you care. You genuinely think that this is less important, or at least the same, as being catcalled?
Wouldn't it be nice if there were no stereotypes or boxes for us to fit into? We're all just humans. We're all complex. Fuck off with your gender stereotypes and boxes.
You're a hypocrite then, because this entire video, you have done that to men. We're the oppressors. We're the ones who rape people. We're the ones who catcall people. We're the ones who do all this, do that. Why don't you lot practice what you preach, and maybe the world will be a better place? But no, it isn't, because you don't.
I hate that. What are the best and worst experiences you have had that involve being a woman? Worst would definitely include sexual things. I've been told that I don't want to have sex because I'm just not trying hard enough.
Right, sure. I've been told I must be gay if I don't enjoy a woman's touch on me without her permission. Who the fuck told you that? I've never heard anybody talk to a woman like that before. If women don't want sex, they don't want sex. That is respected. Unless you're a rapist, that is. Doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. Rapists are rapists. But hey, whatever. Men are all potential rapists to you lot.
Catcalling is not a compliment, and yes, it happens every day.
It might not be a compliment to you, but it is to some women. Just because it's not a compliment to you doesn't mean it's not a compliment to all women. This is the problem with you feminists as well. All your individual experiences are projected onto every individual woman. Please stop thinking so collectivist.
Being nice, hello, good morning, how are you? And they're staring at my crotch and at my legs, calling me love.
That's not sexist, that is not oppression. Calling someone love is usually a term of endearment or just a colloquialism. I've been called love and darling and probably had women staring at my crotch. In fact, funny personal story. I was at a party and apparently I hadn't put my trousers on properly. I think it was my fly was open or something else happened, and a girl pointed it out and she said to me herself, yeah, we like looking at guys' crotches a lot. There you go. See? Might be anecdotal, but don't deny it, you all do. Unless you're lesbian, of course.
Bird, I don't know you. Don't look at me like that. It's disgusting.
How is it disgusting just looking at you? That's stupid. And besides, women call people the same things anyway, so your point is moot. And how this is anything to do with depression, I don't know. First world problems, people.
That's the worst experiences.
That's your worst experiences? Really? There are women out there who've had to deal with far worse than that, and you think that is somehow equal to their worst experiences? There are women that have been raped, there are women who are dealing with war zones and anarchy in Somalia and God knows where else, yeah. That's all you can think of in terms of your worst experiences, some of which would be considered okay experiences by some people. Damn, well done. We definitely need feminism.
The best experiences include things like the Women on YouTube panel at VidCon and Sitsi, when there are so many inspiring, intelligent creators in a room talking about feminism.
You see, now I understand why videos like what Jacqueline Glenn making Women on YouTube the Truth comes from, because you all sit in the room talking about bullshit. Yeah, you don't talk about how you can get more women in, you just talk about feminism, really. You can't, try and increase your knowledge on how to make better videos, you just have to talk about politics. Personal really is political.
Nice. I should probably wrap this up. Let's end with a high, I think. Do you wear makeup because of society's and culture's views about women, or just because you want to?
Women don't wear makeup because of society's views on women. They wear it because they want to wear it. In fact, it used to be a thing that men would wear makeup. Ancient Egyptian men used to wear makeup. Men in the 80s and 70s, they used to wear makeup too. So it's not really a societal thing, it's more of a personal thing. But never mind. It ebbs and flows, and you lot just make everything political because your philosophy is the personal is political, so even something as mundane as makeup is now a political thing.
What do you think? Do you know how much fun I had doing my eyeliner? It was a lot of fun.
And the irony is, she doesn't want to make people think she does makeup tutorials.
It's ridiculous when you think about it. That women can be pressured to put paint on their faces.
Who's pressuring them exactly? I'm not pressuring them. I can't see any other man pressuring them other than women giving them fashion tips. But even then, that's not pressure. You can choose to take that advice or not. You have your own agency. Oh wait, no you don't. Besides, the personal is political, so that means any act of putting on that pink shit on your eyes is some kind of political thing. Somebody's told you to do it. You're doing it for some reason or another. You see, you'll find that a lot of these problems disappear when you let the personal be personal. Just saying. As far as I'm aware, you're not actually forced to put makeup. In fact, many employers and schools would rather you not wear makeup. Unless, of course, you work as a model or a stewardess where you have to look your absolute best. But whatever. That's a requirement for the job. It's not a societal pressure. It's amazing how they confuse all these things.
And that men supposedly aren't allowed to.
No, again, women are not forced to by society to wear makeup, and men aren't forced not to wear it. We just choose not to wear it. Again, things like fashion change. Before, it was fashionable for men to wear it. Now it isn't, unless they're a particular subculture or something. It doesn't really matter. It depends what culture you're in. Sometimes it's more acceptable, other times it's not. It's just what looks good and what men feel like wearing at that moment in time. At this moment, men don't want to. Women kind of always have done. It's just a thing that changes. It's not an issue.
It's literally like a little crayon. It's like drawing on a piece of your skin because it makes you feel better. And if you don't like it, don't do it. That would be a great quote.
Yeah, that's what people do, love. Oh, I called you love then. But anyway, that's what people do, what they've always done. Whatever, move on.
For the world, wouldn't it? If you don't like it, don't do it. If you do like it, bloody well do it.
That's what we've been saying for years. Does it take you lot that long to come to the conclusion as everybody else? Oh dear, you lot. Never change, never change.
Okay, that's my vid on feminism. International Women's Day. I still have a lot more to say about this. I'm now going to edit this video and then I'm going to go see the 1975 live. I'm so excited. Happy vetting. Bye.
I expect to see that video and you will expect to see a response, if I can be asked. Anyway people, that's it. That's the end of this video. Long time coming, but hey, whatever. See you later. Next up, there'll be some really good responses to ContraPoint, so stay tuned. Bye.